Hello Black Salt Circle, and welcome to this year's Beltane video. We are your guides. My name is Marjorie.
My name is Katie.
And today we're just making a video kind of just explaining what Beltane is, some correspondences, and things you can do to celebrate.
So what is Beltane? Beltane or Beltane or Beltane, it's going to have a different pronunciation depending on your region, is part of the pagan wheel of the year. It falls right between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. Many people consider it to be a celebration of the start of summer, and while there's some evidence that it was originally practiced closer to June 20th, today many modern pagans and witches celebrate it on May 1st or May Day. Some traditional activities to celebrate Beltane include doing a maypole dance or ritual and, of course, bonfires. It's also said that during Beltane, the veil between our world and the other world is very thin, so fair folk activity is said to be very high around this time.
Some modern pagans and witches prefer to dance the maypole during Litha, but it is also a very common dance to perform at Beltane. So the maypole dance is a traditional folk dance or ritual wherein participants weave colorful ribbons or yarn and stuff like that around a tall pole or a tree. Many pagans also use this dance as a fertility celebration due to the somewhat phallic appearance of the pole, but the dance can also be changed to not include fertility if that's not really your thing.
Beltane is traditionally a fire festival, and it roughly translates to bright fire. So a very common way to celebrate Beltane is to have a bonfire. Many people practicing a Beltane celebration will either dance around a bonfire or in between several bonfires, or sometimes they'll even jump over one. In the past, it's said that many farmers in Ireland and Scotland would lead their cattle in between bonfires to protect them from diseases, as the fire is seen as purification, cleansing, healing, health. And so these are some practices that you might consider doing. Just be sure to practice fire safety.
So our next point is Beltane and how it relates to gender identity and sexuality. So a lot of Beltane celebrations surrounds sexuality and fertility, like we mentioned earlier. So they celebrate that in people, but also in the land. So some traditional Beltane dances and rituals do place a heavy emphasis on that sexuality and fertility, but it is pretty easy to kind of change it to where we can include our non-binary friends. They can be adapted in a lot of different ways. There's been a lot of different variations that have come up through the years, and you can also kind of change the language that is used during the ritual as well. So for example, some traditional language may include thou art God or thou art goddess, but you can change that to thou art divine, so we can include our non-binary friends.
Now on to some common Beltane correspondences. So some colors are yellow, pinks, blues, reds, greens, anything super colorful that reminds you of summertime.
Some common herb correspondences are going to be mint, lemon, woodruff, rose, and mugwort.
Crystals might include rose quartz, green aventurine, moss agate, malachite, amethyst, and bloodstone.
And last but not least, our deities would include Cernunnos, Artemis, Aphrodite, of course, with Bess, Kokopelli, Isis, Ine, and Dionysus.
So what are some ways that you can celebrate Beltane on your own? Since traditionally it is more of a group celebration, you can make your own maypole. So you might go for a walk, find a pretty stick, and tie some yarn around it, and then you weave your own little maypole by yourself.
You could also jump over a candle. Do be careful, again, with fire safety. You don't want to accidentally kick over the candle. That would not be good. You could also make your own bonfire.
You might also consider leaving out an offering for the fair folk. If you do so, please be sure to use your fair folk etiquette. Keep in mind that not all fair folk are Disney fair folk, so always be careful with that.
You could also practice sex magic. So this can be done solo or with partners. You do want to practice safe sex practices and always make sure that you have clear and enthusiastic consent from your partner.
Another good way to practice Beltane is just to spend some time out in nature. Sit outside and read a book, go for a hike, go for a walk, just get some sunshine.
Another really good way is to set aside some time to spend with your loved ones, whether that's your partner, your kids, even your pets. this is a really good season for that. And like we mentioned earlier, Beltane kind of marks the end of spring into summer. A lot of people kind of consider spring like a love season, so it's really good to kind of just connect with your loved ones before we move on to a new season.
So this year, Black Salt Circle will be celebrating Beltane on Saturday the 29th at Clapp Park, hosted by Elder Grove. This is going to be their 15th annual Beltane in the Park, and we're so happy that they are hosting and grateful that they're letting us help sponsor them.
So the event is going to take place most of the day. It is from 11 to 7. The maypole ritual will be at 5. There's going to be a lot of different vendors, including us, and there's going to be a lot of different like workshops and crafts that you can do, so we definitely encourage any of our local members to come and check it out.
So that's all we have for you today. We hope to see you on Saturday at Beltane, but if not, be sure to practice by yourself. Send us some pictures of some little maypoles that you make or bonfires that are safe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much, and blessed be.
Blessed be.